Just EFF IT. Hi, I'm Romy.
Hi, and I'm Carla.
And together we are the EFF IT
Madres.
Madres. We are here to invite you guys into stories of some inspiring madres
who have changed their lives through an EFF IT moment. So here we go.
Just EFF IT. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hello. How are you?
Tired. I don't know how you guys do this.
We were just saying that.
Oh, we are tired.
We're tired.
We're talking about how tired we are.
Just saying, I'm so tired, and that doing the interview has really because we work late at night after we put the kids down and stuff like that. So my whole schedule is shifting, but fuck it, we got to get it done, and this is when it works. So thank you for staying up late and joining us. And sorry you had the time for the morning.
I know. Well, I'm such a mom. I'm thinking, I see 9:30. I'm like, oh, it's morning. It's got to be morning. I just assumed, because I'm like, do moms really stay up
typically
past 9?
No, they don't until they have to do a fucking podcast because they put their mind to it. So now we do. I'm going to invite you in as you're already here, but everybody, we have Brooke. We have Brooke that is from Tennessee, right? You're in Tennessee right now?
Yeah. I'm originally from Nashville, and I do live in Nashville now, yes. But I also lived in New York and LA for a long amount of time. So
before you came on, I was saying that you and I have never officially met, but there is an Instagram community of mothers that always somehow find like-minded moms, with similarities. And we kind of feel like as we watch each other's kids or stories or whatever, we know each other, but we don't.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true because everything that you're posting, I'm always like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I just feel like I already know you.
Right. And that's how I feel with you too. And I've actually met so many friends who became very family through social media, through us just being moms, So again, creating community is so amazing. And that's what we're trying to do here. So we thank you for jumping on and joining us. We're excited to share your story. So I will just get into it, but you are a mom. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and we will just get into asking you your EFF IT questions.
So I have 2 little boys, a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I became a mother a little bit later in life at 36 and 38 is when I had my kids. I've been prior to that, I was very focused on my career in music. I started at the age of 16. My first record deal was a Christian record deal here in Nashville. And then I ended up moving to New York at 22 and had signed to Universal Music at that time. And then I eventually had a song go platinum with an artist named Paulina Rubio.
Yeah.
Really?
Look at her face.
All right, Paulina.
Right.
Latina in there just popped out of you, Carla. Jumped out.
Yeah.
So you wrote a song for her?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I didn't know that. This is great.
Yeah. And then after that, I moved to LA, which is where I met my husband. He was born and raised in LA. I know they're very rare, but
no, I was born and raised. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And he's also in the music business. He's on the business side. And we fell in love, got married, had our 2 little boys, and it was our dream to raise our kids in Nashville because it's such a friendly place. LA can be tough for raising a family. So we, during the pandemic, right when it started, and I just had my second, we decided to take a risk and move here to Nashville, and here we are. We're very happy. We have our dream home, and life is good.
So when did you decide to just EFF IT, and why?
When I had my firstborn, I realized it was kind of a rebirth for me. It was an awakening of sorts. When I looked at how beautiful he was and how much I loved him, I realized that I needed to love the inner child in me the same way. And I had a lot of locked trauma from my childhood that I hadn't dealt with. And I was raised in the church by a single father. And as much as I am thankful for that, it's a huge part of who I am, my relationship with Jesus and all of that. I knew that there was a lot of ways that I was raised that I needed to do some healing, and I needed to be honest and authentic with who I was. And like I said, in my experience with Christian music, it was, you know, you have to write a certain kind of lyric and that kind of thing. And so I was just never really honest with who I was. And my EFF IT moment was I started working with an artist who I saw him on The Voice like 10 years prior. And I knew when I saw him that I was going to work with him one day. The way he emoted, the way he sang, his heart, his passion. 10 years later, here we are having this moment of like, we both felt suffocated. We both felt like we weren't owning our voice for so long.
So you didn't
And
know him, right? You just saw him on The Voice. You didn't know him.
I didn't know him. And then
Wow.
10 years later, we connected over the phone. And this is after I had my two boys. And I said, you know, I've been living in this reality that just, there's so many things that don't make sense to me the way I was raised.
Mhm.
And I was deconstructing my faith, so to speak. And
Yeah.
so was he. And we both had this throat chakra that was blocked. Like we weren't owning who we really were. So we wrote this song, and it was one of the most powerful things I've ever been invested in. And he was genuinely in this moment in his life, same age as me, later in life, falling in love with a man because he felt growing up, he was the lead of worship. He was raised religious, just like me, and he never felt like he could own that. So we
Yeah.
wrote this song together, and we just said, fuck it. And
Okay.
he fell in love with a man, and we wrote this beautiful song. And so that was the moment. And I'm proud of it because I want my kids to know what I'm passionate about. And I want them to know that their mom is owning who she is.
I mean, I want to
Wow.
come back to this, and I want to jump in on this a little bit with religion being something that we are bringing up because Carla is converted to Judaism, right? Like that's the journey she took. You and I, Brooke, have spoken many times about our faith and where we are. I also am Christian,
Right.
um, and that is I'm raising my daughter as well with that. But I also come from, just as a background, as we get into your moment, like I was raised by two women, but I was also raised in the church. So my upbringing was a church that had gay flags outside of the church. Um, it's never been boundaries like that I'm very well aware of in faith. And the church that I attend now is also an affirming church. And I know that you and I have had conversations of these kind of struggles. And I think for any mom who might have grown up, I know even Carla, in your exploring your faith or not faith, or you not having it, we all are raised a certain way and then we find our journey. And at some point we find where it lands for us, whether that be converting into Judaism or whether that be being a part of an affirming church, or for you
Mm-hmm.
exploring your word and your faith with it. So I'm curious, like, how did you and he find each other again, and what did you do about it? Like, how did you get it started? Like, explain to us that process of like what you guys did and what moment you really just said fuck it.
I was on this journey of dealing with so much shame for what I felt. I mean, even, when you talk about being raised in the Christian church, I was raised to believe in purity culture. My dad gave me a purity ring. And I was dealing with that because I had, like, when I talk about the locked trauma there was a producer who had raped me in my early 20s. And I couldn't say it out
Oh my
loud
God.
because I blamed myself. The way I was
Mhm.
raised, it's like if you're wearing something or if you're drinking or if there's something that you're doing and a man does something, even though you don't give your consent, this is how men think. And that was how I
Yeah.
was kind of raised. And it's not because my father was a bad man, it's all he knew. He did the best he could. He was a single father with a little girl. He was trying to
Yeah.
protect me. But
Yeah.
it actually hurt me in the long run because it took me years to admit it happened. So after I had my kids, I was finally able to say, this happened to me out loud because I was ready to love the inner child, like I was saying. And
Yeah.
through that journey, I connected with Jamar because it's just God aligning our journey at this perfect moment. And it's like I said, I knew 10 years prior, one day I was going to work with him. And then when we worked together, it was so magical because we were both on this journey of exploring how we were raised and how we still have this relationship with Jesus, but what it really meant to us and how we perceive the Bible versus how we were taught it. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
um, it was just a beautiful experience to write the song. And I even remember
How did you guys find each other?
I don't know, probably social media, getting on the phone, and he was just working on the idea of the song, and he wanted to work with me because I'd been doing a lot of things, and it just made sense, and it just happened.
Did you have any initial, did you have any feelings of maybe fear that
Absolutely.
you would be, having been raised so Christian? Okay. Doing something like this is, could be considered like an abomination by families and friends. How did you deal with that? What were you feeling?
Yeah. Let me tell you, it was so scary, and I'm going to be honest with you, I lost friends. I did.
Yeah.
I had friends writing my husband saying that I was going against the Bible. And these were friends that I had gone out of my way for, like friends that I had helped through their marriage struggles, through whatever. And
Mhm.
it makes me emotional because they literally judged me and were like, done. And if I'm going through
Yeah.
that, I can't imagine what the LGBTQ community is going through, you know? And so it breaks my heart.
In doing that moment, I'm getting emotional because it's all very tied into things. As Brooke, we know, like, all of it is, it's just very present, all that you're saying in me. And so I have a lot of emotions behind what you're saying. Just so everybody is aware, because I don't know if it got lost and we didn't really say it. You wrote a love song, right?
Yes.
For this man
Yes.
about another
Yes.
man.
And it
So,
was his declaration, and you'll hear it in the lyrics of him saying, I'm so frightened to do this, but I'm going to fall in love. I'm going to let it flow. And he's talking about falling in love with another man for the first time in his life at 40 years old, 39 years old.
wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, it's just like chills.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. How liberated
Mm-hmm.
he must have felt.
Yes.
At least I hope, after having been able
And
to
the
have that
beautiful
song.
part of the journey is, I've spoken to his mother, and even with my father, in the beginning, my father, had his biblical things to say and how he felt about it, which I know how he feels about it, but that wasn't the point. He got over it eventually. And I've been in therapy about this stuff because
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
talking to my father has been, I love him so much, but there's been these, every time we talk, even though I'm a grown woman, it's always, this is what the Bible says. This is the truth. This is, and I don't see it that way. And so we clash.
Right.
And it's been hard. It caused a lot of conflict, either not speaking to each other or just being angry. I'd be angry with him. So I've been in therapy, and we've actually gotten through it. He knows boundaries now. He knows, we don't need to go there, or I don't need to try to convince you of the woman that you need to be or how you need to perceive the story of Jesus. And, I have a mentor who talks about the Bible, that the Bible it's not a book, it's a library written from many different perspectives. And we read it and we see it through our lens. So some,
Right.
from my parents' generation, it's like they see it one way. That's it, you know.
Yeah.
But I want to
Mhm.
teach it to my kids in a way that you explore it. How is it to
Yeah.
you? What do you see, and how is the world talking to you through, you know, through that?
I just had this conversation tonight, which is just so magical. I had a dinner with Frankie's moms from her school, and my daughter does go to a Christian school. And the mom said exactly what you said, in terms of, I want our kids to be able to take it for what they feel, their own personal relationship, not something told to them, forced to them. It's this
Yes.
way, that build your own relationship with what that looks like. And I think as a mom, this is a common thing, what you just said, even just with boundaries. I know Carla you can speak on this, I can speak on this, aside from even religion, creating boundaries. And that's what we're talking about on this show. That when you say fuck it and you create a boundary with your family, whether it be a parent, a sibling, whoever it may be, that is the thing that I think moms really need to like hear, because you went after something.
And that it's okay.
Yeah, that it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Carla, you're big on boundaries. You're very big on those. I'm learning those. I'm in therapy right now. And what you said, I'm in therapy learning to love my little girl that lives in me and my trauma. But you following your truth, letting your children see you follow your truth, despite losing friends or family, whatever that may be. If our kids don't see us acting based on our truth, we are doing them a
Yeah.
disservice. Jumping back into like the religious part, like you were saying, you were just saying you've traveled,
Oh, well, I was
right?
saying
You've
also
gone
in
into it.
America,
Yeah.
it can be very like, it's like nationalism. It's like, America's the best country in the world. And that ties in with the Christian church. And so when I traveled, I, recorded an album in Stockholm, Sweden, or, wherever I went, I'd come home and I would express to my family how amazing the experience was and how much I was learning and the quality of life. But it was always met with a little bit of shame. Like, no, we're the best country. And, so, and this is again my very young, yeah, right. But and this was when I was very young, so in my young 20s. But I felt very like, oh, if I say these things, I'm disappointing the man who raised me. And that's been something I had been working through in therapy of like, no, but I meant that and I own that. And I believe that through my lens, through my perspective, through my experiences, this is what I believe. But that voice before becoming a mother was always, I'm a disappointment, or I shouldn't be saying this. But through therapy and loving the inner child, like now I can own it. I'm owning my voice for the first time in as a 40-year-old woman. And it's
Yeah.
crazy because it's like, and starting so young in the music industry and being told like, when I started with the Christian deal was, Britney Spears was popping off, whatever. They're like, we're going to make you platinum blonde and the Christian Britney. And everything was so fabricated all the time. And like, this is who you should be. And so it's been a struggle for me to truly own who it is that Brooke truly is. But that's truly my EFF IT moment, because I want my kids to see that I can do that. I need to do that for myself, you know?
I'm in the same boat as you, even doing this. I want to get in more to it, but I mean, I'm 40. I just finally started. I've always said on here doing, EMDR therapy and trying to figure out some of the trauma that has held me back. And once we do that, it's like we do find our voice again. We find ourselves again. Here I am back putting myself out there. It took me some years where I stopped. I didn't know really who I was for the last few years. I felt really lost, and I did feel a lot of trauma holding me back, and we start loving that little person again. We start finding who we are. We start getting stronger. We start having the strength to kind of like tap into what we need to do. And Carla and I went, fuck it. We're going to do this for ourselves and for our daughters, and for other moms. And you having that moment, I'm curious, what did it do for your family actually going for it? How did it impact you and your kids and your husband?
Well, in my marriage, it's been huge, because we were just talking about boundaries and all that. And I think the first 5 years of my marriage, we were living in LA, going to every single music event. You know how LA is. It's like there's always something to do. And we were busy, busy, busy. And um, I felt like I was just not setting boundaries in my relationship. And I wasn't owning who I was. I was just going with what he wanted to do. So after I had my kids, like setting boundaries with him and really speaking up and really owning who I was made our love so much stronger, because it was a two-way street. Now, it wasn't a man, being raised the way I was, the man takes the lead, you follow, but no, I was ready to be strong and say, this is how I feel about this. I mean, even in the smallest ways of like, he loves rock music. That's all we listened to in the radio in the car for 5 years. Now, I love R&B and pop. I'm like, we're listening to what I want to listen to. Just owning who I am on the smallest and biggest scale. And he is so for it, and he respects it, and our marriage has been so much stronger for it. Obviously, with my little boys, they're very young still. They're 2 and 4, but I feel like it'll impact them so much because they'll have a healed mother. They'll have a mother who's owning who she is. And that's so important to me. I don't want to be someone living in someone else's shadow. I don't want to be somebody who is just passive or living in this fawn trauma response of like, I'll be a doormat, whatever. I want that for them because I want them to know how to treat women.
I mean, I think that's a great
Yes.
message too. Like Carla, we just had a mom on here the other day that we interviewed, and just what we teach our children right now, it's creating the next. I mean, it sounds cheesy, but the next generation, the world. I don't think any of us on here are okay with how things are going or how people are being treated. I think it's sad, and it's our job to make sure that our kids grow up, you know, loving one another, being kind, seeing their parents do that, whether you're Christian, whether you're Jewish, whether that we all work together, we all come together, of all different religions, of all different races, of all different sexual identities and sexual preferences. And like we as parents, if we don't heal and we don't start showing that, we're not breaking the cycle. And I think every one of us has had to have that moment of breaking the cycle of what our parents
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
did.
It's generational trauma, and there'll be
Yeah.
more generational trauma. I mean, this is what happens, but it stops here. We know what's
Mhm.
important and how to raise our children. And even when thinking of how our country was founded on racism and all of that, and now it's just the way that my deepest passion is equal rights and equality and fighting for that all men or men and women are born equal. And I stand on that. And so I want my kids to know that's their mommy's passion.
I don't know that our parents, I'm sure they did. I mean, obviously, our parents at some point had moments that they said fuck it and did things. But it's like you said, Carla, right now, and even speaking to you, Brooke, and some of the moms we've been speaking to, there's like this something in the water, something in the air right now. And I don't know if it's just due to what we've all had to witness and see happen over the last few years. But like, a lot of us moms are just like, we're healing. We're like really healing, like we're doing the work. We're trying to understand things differently. We're trying to look at things differently, and we're trying to fix things to be better for our kids, or to show our kids things that we know we didn't get to see, or that we need, you know what I mean? And I think despite everything crappy that might be going on, this is really beautiful to hear so many moms, be like, no, like it stops, like you guys said, it stops here, and there is that shift. And that is exactly why I know for me, Carla, this podcast, us doing this, is important to me, because
Yeah.
I want other moms and women to know, like, we're all in this. We are all trying to do this. And again, I mean, we're going to fuck up, right? We're we're going to fuck up. And how our kids react to the things that we are trying to change. You brought this up to me, Carla. It's like, we don't know how they're going to. I can't assume she's going to be a certain way because I do it this way, but it's important to us individually that we do it
Giving them the
that way.
Yeah.
tools that we felt like we
You know?
didn't
Now,
receive. We don't have control of who our
Yes.
kids are going to grow up and
exactly.
become, but that's kind of the point. The point
No.
is like nurturing who they are as individuals, not trying to mold them into being
Yeah.
a version of ourselves, but giving them the freedom
Right.
and the confidence to explore the world in the way that they feel is best. Because I have such faith in God, our creator, that everybody is born with a purpose and their own way of looking at the world, and that's what makes them who they are. And so why should we try to change that? That's who they're created to be.
Yeah.
But while I was growing up, it was like, you shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't be that way. And I have all this
Yeah.
shame that I have to get out of me. And that's where therapy comes in, and just exercising that out of me, because it's just so deeply instilled in me.
Being I'm a mother, we're both mothers of a daughter, but being a mother of sons, that's an amazing thing that you're doing to teach them to see women as 100% equal, and for our daughters to know that I tell my daughter every night she's capable and worthy of anything and everything, because she is. If she tries, if she goes after it and she tries, she can get it, and if she doesn't, it's okay. But like, nobody out there can tell her that she's not just because she's a woman. Like, that has to end. That just has to end. So
Did your boys, like, what did they think of the song when you put that out? What was their reaction to it? They know the story behind it, obviously, right?
They're still so little, so you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, as they grow, I will definitely tell them. I think this is a shining moment, and I think that doing these things, like even talking to you guys, and writing, I'm writing this children's book series about these lessons, about all the things I've learned. Well, there's no name yet. I'm developing the characters, and I'm writing 5 books, but it's all with these. It's two bodega kitties living in New York City, and yeah, so it'll be really fun. But I want to write the kind of books I want to read to my kids.
Carla just wrote a kid's book too. She's in the middle of doing that as well. I love seeing you moms like do this and write things that
yeah,
are powerful for our kids to see. Like,
Yeah, it's so important. And like you said, with the generational trauma,
yeah,
like these are the things we want our kids to learn, lessons that we didn't learn growing up, and how to be self aware and to be present and to make up their own minds as they're growing up, and to see the world through their own perspective and give them that confidence.
I was gonna tail back to having written the song and everything. When I'm curious, I know that I talked about fears and all that, but like, since having your effort moment, I know that you have like put a lot of boundaries and everything, but are there still any fears that come up for you, like having, put the song out or going in that direction of like, standing firm with your faith, but doing music like this? And
Yeah, because I think this is something I'm very passionate about, and I'm going to continue to talk about this and do work. Everything I write as a writer is going to kind of center around these kinds of things that I'm passionate about. And I think my biggest fear is disappointing my father. I think that will always, I think, but like I said, I
really?
think that we've done a lot of work, and I think that I don't disappoint him.
Hmm.
I think that just that's the little girl in me, and that's the therapy, that's the work I'm doing,
Yeah.
because there's always those moments of, you know, will he be disappointed in what I'm doing? But at the same time, I know I'm being honest with who I am, and I have to do that.
Right. Have you guys have actually sat down together, and like, has he had done therapy with you, or is it just conversations that you guys have had?
Actually, we're going to get therapy together. I have a great lesbian therapist. She's amazing, and she's changing my life. I love her so much.
I love this. Is your father going to join you with her?
Yes.
Oh, girl,
Yes.
you are just
And
bringing it home right now.
I'm doing the hard work, but
I
we've been
know.
having great conversations on the phone. Whereas like 6 months ago, I couldn't even speak to him because I had anger, and I felt resentful, and I felt like I couldn't own who I
Wow.
was. And he would always revert it and go down the rabbit hole with me of why, I should be ashamed of my behavior or whatever. But it's changing, baby step by baby step. It's changing. And he didn't really like congratulate me, or I think he's still, he would rather me write this epic Christian record, so I don't think it was his dream come true, but that's okay. It's not for him.
What is the name of the song? Who is the artist? I want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to go. We're going to post it at the end of this so you guys know, but tell us again the name of the artist, the name of the song.
It's Jamar Rogers, and this song is called Flow.
It's him singing his love for the first time openly, right? To another man, and he's an adult. This is his first.
Yes, and the music video actually is beautiful and was directed by his love. It was the best. I mean, I've been writing for 20 years. Like I said, I've had platinum success. This was one of the most favorite projects that I've ever worked on because I just felt like it was so meant to be. The timing of it all, even the song title flow, like that's how it felt. It felt so effortless because he's letting himself just be who he is. And the verses are very much about the anxiety and the fears and all that, but the chorus is I gotta let it flow. And um and I remember him telling me in the process of writing the song that to me, to him, the closest like version that he felt to Jesus was working with me because I felt, yeah, I mean, I don't want to tell too much about his story because that's for him to say, but he was, would lead worship at church and was told to marry a woman and all those things. So here we are, two Christian people who love Jesus making this song. Yeah, it was powerful.
Writing this song. Ugh.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing.
It's so amazing. Brooke, I'm curious, what advice would you give to other mothers, other Christians, people of faith in any realm of this? Like, what advice would you give to somebody who's in that moment you were in, like how to get there, how to have that moment, what to do?
I would just say that it's important to have community. Us moms, we need each other. And to be real, to be honest. Like, I think in church communities, so often we can be really fake. We can act like, you know, because we feel like we have
Mhm.
to. We have to put on this front. And that's where my husband and I are at, really. He works for a great Christian label. He's killing it over there. But we have this feeling of like, we just want people to come over, to be real, to be authentic. Like, we aren't the super religious types, where we have to put on this fake front. So for me, I'm not saying that to be judgmental. I'm just saying that the community of Christ or any religion, I think it's important to just be authentic and talk about whatever you're feeling in the world. And hopefully we get to a place where we're not judging each other. We're just curious about learning each other's stories and learning from
Yes.
each other. And that's the
Yes.
ultimate goal for me, because I think, it's hard to feel like you have to put on this fake front to be accepted.
I think that's
Yeah.
a big problem in like I feel like most religions where it's just like people just close themselves off to even listening to other people's opinions because they're so much in their own box that they like, no, on my way is the right way, or you're gonna go here, or you're gonna go there, or this is gonna happen to you. And like all religion has a God and they all love that God and that God is good. And so it's just, why do we have to be so closed off to listening and learning about other people and their religion and their differences and all of that? Like, it's just, we just need to accept the common theme, I guess, is
Yeah, and hear each other's stories, like you said, like ask questions, inquire, get to understand your personal relationship with God. Carla, what your relationship looks like. It's not for me to say it's not there or for you to say that mine's not there.
yeah.
Let's just talk. Let's just explore and let's just accept. Right now, like Frankie is obsessed with JoJo Siwa. Obsessed. JoJo Siwa is out, she is completely out and part of the community. I love that my daughter loves JoJo. She's going, that's her person, and it's going to be, she's still really young too, but the conversation is, yeah, JoJo has a girlfriend, that's still your idol. Sing away. Like, this is where these conversations start happening with our kids as they get older. So, yeah. Carla, did you have anything else you wanted to ask her?
No, I think we covered everything. There's a really
Yeah.
good flow there.
Yeah. It was really great, Brooke. Is there an Instagram that everybody can follow that yours, the artist, like give your shout out so people can go and listen and follow you guys?
Okay, yeah, just my name, Brooke Cervenka, and then Jamar Rogers. Yeah.
Those two Instagrams. Okay. And then on YouTube, everybody, or Spotify, Apple, everywhere, right? They can go and listen to Flow.
And Jamar is doing really cool things right now. He's like leading meditations and things like that. So
Cool.
I love that. All right. Well, here's the end where we do our fuck it. So should we do the 1, 2,
F it.
3, Carla? The F it? Yeah, F it.
Yeah, so we have to do it by like individually, and then our editor edits it together because we can never get it together.
Yeah.
So you want to go first, then
Yeah.
you go first. I'll go, and then Brooke can go.
So just
F
F
it.
it.
But maybe that's how love goes. You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. Drowning in anxiety. With you, there is no gravity.